Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we will discuss about the X-ray analysis and determination of atomic number. Dear students, in the previous lectures you have thoroughly discussed about all the basic concepts and theories and ideas about the structure of an atom. Today we will discuss about the modern periodic law, which is based upon atomic number. And atomic number was determined by Moseley. He performed an experiment by using X-rays and determined the atomic numbers of different elements and studied the properties of all the elements based upon atomic numbers and redefined the periodic table and the periodic law. Dear students, Moseley in 1913. In 1913, Moseley performed an experiment known as X-ray analysis. He performed this experiment to determine the properties of different elements, and according to his experiment he redefined the periodic law, which is now known as modern periodic law and modern periodic table or Moseley's periodic table. Students, he used an X-ray tube. He used an X-ray tube to perform this experiment. First of all, we will discuss about the construction of X-ray tube. First of all, we will discuss about construction. As far as the construction of X-ray tube is concerned, it consists of a cathode, and cathode, it is a source of cathode rays. Source of cathode rays. What are cathode rays? Cathode rays are fast moving electrons. Cathode rays are fast moving electrons. He placed a target element known as anode. Anode is a target element of higher atomic number. Higher atomic number. And he used tungsten as a anode or target element. Then he also used a window, and it is made up of aluminium. Aluminium window. It is a discharge tube. The composition of the glass or tube is, it is made up of some glowing material or mostly of glass. This is the construction of X-ray tube. Now we will discuss about the working of this tube. Students, discharge tube is composed of two electrodes. One is of source of electrons or cathode rays is cathode, and other is of target element, which is of higher atomic number and is mostly working as anode. Students, he first of all used the source of fast moving electrons or source of cathode rays are basically originate from the surface of cathode. These are cathode rays are fast moving electrons. These electrons, after the emission from the surface of cathode, when targeted on the anode, he observed that there will be an emission. He observed an emission of some penetrating radiations in all directions. There is an emission of radiation in all directions. There is a emission of radiations, highly penetrating radiations of very shorter wavelength and high energy in all directions. When cathode rays or electrons bombarded on the surface of anode, there will be an emission of radiations. He focused some of the radiations out of the window made up of aluminium, and he placed a crystal in the path of these radiations and he observed shadow. He observed shadow of the object as well as the emission of radiations. Dear students, when he observed this experiment, all the changes happening in this experiment, he made some conclusions. He observed that the nature and frequency and energy and wavelength of all the radiations emitted from this anode changes according to the change in nature of anode. With an increase in number, with an increase in atomic number, the nature of these penetrating radiations, these emitted radiations is also changed. What was being observed by him is cathode rays from a source targeted on a heavy metal source, and there is emission of some penetrating radiation which, after focusing from a window targeted on a crystal, there was a formation of a shadow. From this experiment, he concluded some results. First of all, he said that in conclusion, he said that there is the emission of two spectral lines or two spectral series. There is emission of two spectral lines or two spectral series. One is of shorter wavelength, and other one is of longer wavelength. Emission of two spectral lines or two spectral series, one of shorter wavelength and other is of longer wavelength. Number two, nature or frequency of emitted X-rays or radiations varies with the change in atomic number. With the change in atomic number, the nature and frequency of the emitted X-rays is also changed. And how does it change, or how did it change? It changed as higher the atomic number, shorter will be the wavelength lambda. You observe that with the increase in atomic number, the wavelength of emitted X-rays gets shorter and shorter. And third one is the frequency nu of the emitted X-rays is related to the atomic number as under root or square root of frequency is equal to A into Z minus B. The frequency of emitted photons or frequency of emitted X-rays is related to the atomic number Z as square root of frequency is equal to A into Z minus B. What is A? A is the proportionality constant. A is the proportionality constant. What is B? B is the screening or shielding constant. B is the shielding or screening constant. It is the characteristics of target element. Students, you know what is screening effect or shielding effect? The decrease in nuclear force on the outermost shell due to underlying shells or due to intervening shells or electrons. It means with the increase in number, there must be an increase in size, and with the increase in size, shielding effects or screening effect gets higher and higher. As a result, shielding or screening constant will also be increased. When value of B increased, then value of nu is also frequency is decreased. It means A is the proportionality constant, B is screening constant, and B is the characteristics of a specific element. Every element has its own screening or shielding constant. So we can write it as square root of nu is equal to or is directly related to Z atomic number, or by taking square on both sides, frequency will be directly related to Z square. Taking square on both sides. Taking square on both sides, frequency nu will be equal to or will be directly related to the square of atomic number. Greater the atomic number, square times greater will be the frequency. Greater the atomic number, square times greater will be the frequency. And if frequency is greater, then wavelength will be shorter. It means nature of X-rays varies. Higher atomic number, shorter will be the wavelength. Greater the frequency, shorter will be the wavelength. As we have read, E is equal to H nu or Hc over lambda. It means frequency, energy and frequency are directly related to one another according to Planck's quantum theory, and frequency and wavelength and energy, both the frequency and energy are inversely related to the wavelength. It means with the increase in atomic number, frequency and energy will increase. As a result, wavelength will be decreased. These are the conclusions of the Moseley's experiment. He concluded that there will be an emission of two types of series, one of shorter wavelength, and he named the shorter wavelength as K series, and other one is of longer wavelength and named it as L series. Shorter wavelength of K series and longer of L series. The nature or frequency of X-rays depends upon atomic number. Higher the atomic number, shorter will be the wavelength, and the frequency of emitted X-rays is related to the atomic number, as frequency is directly related to square of atomic number. With the increase in atomic number, frequency will be increased and wavelength will be decreased. So students, what is actually happening here? We said that there is a series of shorter wavelength named as K series. Students, suppose we have an atom having a nucleus. We have first shell named as K shell. We have the second shell named as L. We have the third shell labeled as M. We have the fourth shell labeled as N, and so on. Students, according to the Bohr's concept, the farther the electron from the nucleus, more energy it will have. For example, look at the electron which is placed in first shell. There is a strong bond between nucleus and this electron due to smaller distance. But electron in the L shell, there will be some shielding effect, and the bond or attraction between nucleus and electron of the second shell is weaker as compared to the first shell. Similarly, if electron is in third shell, the force of attraction on the electron of the third shell is comparatively lower as compared to the force of attraction on third shell is even lower as compared to the second and first shell, and for fourth shell it will be even lower. Means, with respect to the nucleus, if we find the potential energy mgh, then electron in the first shell will have lesser energy, because with respect to the position from nucleus, it is at lower position, h is lower. So its potential energy, the stored energy due to its position, is lower as compared to this one, and the potential energy of second shell is even lower as compared to the third shell. With respect to the position of electron, an electron which is closer to the nucleus will possess lesser amount of energy, will have lesser potential energy, but an electron which is farther from the nucleus will have higher potential energy. But for the emission of this electron, for the transition of this electron, there will be a greater change in energy. Why? Because this electron, due to its position from the nucleus, has lower potential energy, but there is a strong attraction between electron and nucleus. For the emission or transition of this electron from any higher level, or for the knocking of this electron from this shell, we have to break this strong bond, and for the cleavage of a stronger bond, there will be the absorption of higher energy or greater amount of energy. So when electron is knocked out from the first shell or K shell, there will be a great amount of energy which is absorbed. There is an absorption of greater amount of energy. Means when an X-ray collides with the electron of K shell, this electron will be knocked out from this shell and there will be a greater change in energy. And when energy is greater, wavelength will be shorter. So K series have the shorter wavelength. Similarly, when electron is knocked out from L shell, there will be comparatively, as compared to K shell, there will be lesser energy change. And when energy is lesser, wavelength will be greater. So we have L series with longer wavelength. Students, what is actually happening here? When X-rays collide to the electrons of inner shell, this electron is knocked out S, and a vacancy or hole is created in K shell. As a result, an electron from L shell will jump and adjusts itself to the position of electron being knocked out. When electron jumps from L shell to K shell, there will be an emission of energy. According to Bohr's atomic model, when electron jumps from higher level to lower level, there will be emission of energy. And this energy, this emitted photon, when electron jumps from L shell to K shell, there will be emission of energy. There will be emission of some penetrating radiation, and wavelength of that emitted radiation belongs to the range of angstroms. Which is 100 nanometer or 10 angstroms, and this wavelength belongs to X-rays. So he said that when some penetrating radiations are bombarded, when cathode rays, these are cathode rays, when cathode rays are bombarded on an atom, they will knock out the electron from inner shell. They will knock out the electron from the inner shell, and the vacancy is created, which is filled by the electrons of higher level, which are shifted to lower level with the emission of some radiation. And the emitted radiation has the energy and wavelength of the order of X-rays, X-rays spectrum of electromagnetic radiation. Students, he also divided the K and L series into further lines. He said that we have K alpha, we have K beta, we have K gamma, and so on. Similarly, we have L alpha, L beta, and L gamma, and so on. What does it mean? Students, when there is a transition of electron from L shell to K shell, there will be K alpha. When there is a transition from M shell to K shell, when there is a transition of M shell to K shell, it will be K beta. When there is a transition from N to K, this will be K gamma. Similarly, if transition occurs from M to L, it will be L alpha. If it is from N to L, it will be L beta. And if it is transited from or shifted from O to L, it will be L gamma, and so on. So each series, electron from any higher level can jump to the inner shell. L to N, L to K, M to K, and N to K. This transition is known as K series because it consists of K alpha, K beta, K gamma, and so on, shorter wavelengths, which upon combination or as a whole are known as K series. K alpha, K beta, K gamma, collectively these are some spectral lines which upon combination will form series, complete series. So this is actually happening in X-ray analysis. When the size, when the atomic number of the atom increases, then the size will also increase due to the addition of number of shells. As a result, shielding effect increases. When shielding effect increases, the electron will be at greater distance from nucleus, or there will be a bigger force between electron and the nucleus. When there is a bigger force, there will be a smaller change in energy. As a result, when energy change is smaller, there will be a greater change in wavelength. This was the work of Moseley for the determination of atomic number by using X-ray analysis technique. Students, now we have the uses of X-rays. Students, X-rays are highly penetrating particles. X-rays are highly penetrating radiations. X-rays, uses of X-rays, they are highly penetrating radiations. If they are highly penetrating radiation, they will help in studying the anatomy. Means study of internal structures of the body, of the living cell. Study of internal structures of a living cell. They can also be used to cast a shadow. As we have seen, when these radiations are targeted on a crystal, he used potassium hexacyanoferrate. Potassium hexacyanoferrate 2. This crystal was used. When this crystal is placed in the path of X-rays, there will be the production of a shadow. So X-rays, when a hard object or when a crystal is placed in the path of X-rays, there will be a production of shadow. You are all aware of the X-ray graphs. When there is a crack in the bones or any machine, the cracks can be found by using X-ray analysis. So, study of bones, cracks, as well as setting of bones or healing of bones. If there is a crack, when X-rays are bombarded here, they will pass through except from the bones, and there will be a shadow of the hand, and you can easily find the cracks, or if there is no crack, then you can easily find the joints present in the fingers or all the bones. So, in order to study the anatomy of the cell or study of internal structure and identification of the cracks in bones or in other utensils, like you have any machinery made up of iron or steel, and if you are interested in finding the cracks or breaks among the structures, you can easily isolate or identify the cracks by using X-rays. Similarly, to study the structure of a crystal means crystallography. In crystallographic study, in which you discuss or you study the structure and position of atoms along three-dimensional space, or in a three-dimensional space, you can study the exact structure of a crystal or a solid, which is crystallography. So in crystallography, you can also use X-ray diffraction technique, and this technique was first devised by two scientists, W. H. Bragg and W. L. Bragg. These two scientists, known as Bragg brothers, they used the X-ray diffraction technique to study the crystals, and they also identified the diffraction pattern of different materials. So you can use X-rays in everyday life for different purposes. These were the uses of X-rays. Hopefully you got all these concepts. For any query, you can ask question. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.